it is rightly named, yeah, because, well, number one, his father over at Longley was called Hugo, so we're very inventive with names.
Hugo Boss.
And then these two lovely ladies at the back, they're his sisters. So we've got, on the left here, we've got Samira by the looks of it, and then on the right we have Amalu. So Boss, Samira and Amalu. They're brothers and sisters, you can tell. He'll keep kicking his sister in a minute in his sleep. They are a lovely sibling group. They have a really special bond. They're all 10 years old now, so they were born 10 years ago at Longley, and they've been with us for about 7 years. We always throw a lion party for them every year, every birthday that they have, and that will entail lots of boxes of catnip and different enrichment sources in their environment, in their enclosure. So we'll give them different foods as well, nice tasty foods that they don't always get. Not nice and tasty for me and you, deer legs and a wild rabbit, but really good for them. And then, yeah, and in between those times, they are the best footballers I've ever seen. So, original three lions, we call them, because...
I was say, I'm not sure about them.
Yeah.
Unless it's the ladies, because they're all right.
These are the better, the better three lions. And they have their own footballs in there, which are made out of a really strong reinforced plastic. So it's kind of hard to break, but they do manage to break them because they're so strong. And they'll run around every day and play a good match of football, which is something I've never seen in the wild, I'll be honest. So this is the only place I've ever seen three massive African lions play football, and they are the most, I know you wouldn't believe it, the most active lions I've also ever seen, whether that be at a zoo or in the wild. Because I think the way that we feed them has given them a little bit more of an energy boost. So we feed them 5 days a week, small but often. And then we have 2 non-feed days of the week, so they don't get any food on a Friday or a Monday. But all throughout the week they get a little bit of food, which means that they're a little bit more active and they don't spend so long working it off, basically, or trying to break it down internally.
Always moving.
Oh, she's good enough.
Oh, she's moving. Sorry.
It's all right. So they've got their door shut in there, so they're probably in there for a reason this morning. And that could be due with general maintenance and just tidying up their enclosure and things like that. Cleaning it up, because they do eat 5 days a week. We have to make sure that their bones have been moved, and so after every feed we do have to get back in there. So this is a good opportunity for the keepers just to give it a little spruce up, clean up, maybe pops. Oh, look what we've got in there now. We've got a magpie eating the meat. And so we do end up with horse bones over in the field over there, or around the zoo. And we're like, how on earth did horse bones? And then we realise that the magpies are eating the leftovers and moving them. So that's quite interesting. That's like a circle of life for him.
Licking each other.
Maybe they had food. Oh, she's having a groove.
They're licking each other. Having a wash.
No, not being too giving too much away for Boss, but he does get embarrassed when he realises people are watching him sleep, and then he'll get up quickly and start being all manly and do some roaring or something. So usually when Boss wakes up, he will have a little roar, because roaring is their way of marking their territory. Oh, big yawn.
Oh my gosh, that's a huge mouth.
See the size of his tongue and teeth. And so his teeth, on average, are roughly the size of your index finger. It's about 10 centimetres long and about the same width as well. So that's
awesome.
She's going to wake up brother up. So, oh, get up, do some roaring.
Oh, that is cute.
So this is the bond that they have. Oh, see that? Woo!
Oh, I'll move out the way for you then, love.
Yeah, typical sibling behaviour. I can do stretch. I is probably, I hate to say it, my favourite.
Hello, darling.
Is what we call a subordinate or a least dominant female, and so she has.
That is so cute.
He loves a groom. Look at him.
Lady bugger. Oh, man.
That makes you want to be a lion, doesn't it? It makes you want to get in there.
No, I just don't like eating.
Not if you were a lion.
Did you go out to South Africa for
That is
I did
super
with
cute.
my university course, yeah. So we were lucky enough to get a field trip, and that was one of the field trips. The other one was Borneo.
Big
There's a
guys.
lot more work involved with Borneo.
Really?
You had to do a lot more
Just
like
go for the orangutan.
physical work. Yeah, I would have gone for that. But no, I went to South Africa because African animals are one of my favourite.
Yeah.
And I've never been to that side of the world yet, so I thought, yeah, I'm going. And I learned so much. We learned so much out of
That is
doing it
gorgeous.
firsthand, you know.
Hello, my beauties.
looks totally shocked.
Is that because they can hear food?
They've seen the keepers now, haven't they? So they recognise Tracy very well because she's been working here for a really
they're
long time.
beautiful animals, they are.
And Meg also is on carnivores today, so they'll recognise her as well.
You got such a cool.
How dangerous are they to cuddle?
Very dangerous to cuddle.
Oh,
I'm
why
so
is
glad
that?
you asked me that question because they are very aggressive. They love their heat, they love their warmth, and they have to utilise their warmth throughout the cold seasons or the cold moments. So they will, on a sunny day, sunbathe. They will utilise it. They'll actually use their bellies as a solar panel, and then they can hold on to that heat while they're under the ground in the evening time in Africa. Because actually in Africa, in the Kalahari Desert, or the Namibian Desert, which is where many of them come from, it gets freezing cold. You know, out in Botswana, desert cold they call that. So they do need to warm up. They do need to utilise some of the heat that they've acquired in the daytime. So they're like little, they're like little superheroes really. So they have other superpowers. They're completely immune to some venom of snakes, and they've learned and they've passed it on through generations how to tackle a scorpion. So attach the stinger, throw it away or discard it, wrap them, roll them in the sand to...
You know, Mr. Attenborough shows a bit of that.
Yeah. But it is, of course, meerkats, I should say. It is, of course, their lunchtime, so they are patiently waiting for a bit of food. Now, what we've got today, because these guys are omnivorous, we have a nice, healthy meal for them. So we've got their vegetables here. A bit of veggie for these guys for a mid-morning snack, and they will get a little bit of food later on as well. But what I'm going to do, because it's quite a small audience today, I'm going to offer some of you guys a chance to throw in some food for the meerkats. Now, I know Callie's keen. Callie's my Rambles with a Ranger morning friend. So we're going to start off with Callie. Oh, she's thrown it in straight away. Lovely. So anybody
I'm
who
most definitely
have
keen.
a little handful, please let me know. Hold out your hand and I shall fill it with some warm vegetables. Now, just to let you all know, there is
share it out,
there
boys.
is a little place to wash your hands just behind you. So there's the toilets. There's also a couple of pumps as well.
That's so
wash
awesome.
pumps. And basins. There you go, lovely. Go, anybody who's keen? Lovely. Okay, just throw it in at the meerkats. Do try and spread it as far and wide as you can. Make it a little bit more of a foraging experience for these guys. We don't want it an easy feed. They don't have an easy time in the wild.
That is epic.
There you go. You're welcome. Anybody else? Would you like? No? Well, you go on. There, you love that.
Are you enjoying that, aren't you, boys and girls? Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy.
Excellent.
That's so awesome.
Get it in, spread it far, spread it wide. And then you're going to watch these guys start foraging away. And now what I want you guys to do whilst they're foraging is count the meerkats for me. Does anybody think they can count how many meerkats we've got here in this enclosure? It's a bit of a task, I'm not going to lie. They don't stop moving it to the time. There's holes everywhere, so they keep popping down those. And of course they blend in very well. You've said 8 over here? Absolutely. Well done. Can we get a round of applause over here for this guy? Yay. 8 meerkats. Well done, sir, because it's quite hard to count all of them at dinner time. So excellent. Okay, so we've got 8 here, quite a few less than what we'd have out there in the wild, I'll be honest. So typically they will live in group sizes of about 30 to 40 or 20 to 30 on average, but it can reach a lot higher. So these guys, it's all about safety in numbers. The more, the merrier. And of course, once they have noticed or spot a little threat, they will let out an alarm call. That can either be a high squeal or a bark, a high-pitched call, and each one will mean something different. So each one relates to a different type of predator or threat, and that lets the other meerkats know exactly where to hide or whether to get up high or down low. And so there is a bit of a leader of this mob. Okay, this is either a matriarchal or a patriarchal society, and I'm going to see if we know here in the audience. So let's have a bit of a vote. So hands up then if you think that it is boys that rule the world and it's a patriarchal society. So hand up if you think it's all about the boys. Oh wow, this well-trained audience, all of you nodding it now. Okay then, hands up in the air if you think this is a female-dominated society and it's girls that rule the world. Absolutely. Who run the world? It's girls. And it's all about the alpha female here. So at the moment we do have quite a large meerkat in charge of the rest of them. She's our alpha female, not you, Tracy. She's Large Marge, that's her name. That's how inventive we are with names around here at the zoo. That helps us to spot who the alpha female is, but also she is the largest, so it's a bit of me. And so the biggest meerkat there is our alpha female, and she's doing a really good job of taking care of the rest of the mob. But really, she doesn't have to do an awful lot. She's quite lazy as the alpha female. All she really has to do is look pretty. The others, they have to do the rubbish jobs, like babysitting duties or sentry duty. And if you know anything about meerkats, you'll know that sentry duty is what a meerkat's most famous for. So it's that behaviour where they will take a high stand to a high point. They'll stand on their tiptoes, little paws out in front of them, and they're looking out in the air or up in the sky or around the area for any potential threats or predators. Once they spotted one, like I mentioned, they'll let out an alarm call, and that could either be a high-pitched or a low bark, and that will let them know what type of threat there is and where to run for cover. So really intelligent animals here. And they're having a good forage around, and they're also having a little bit of a revamp of their enclosure today, so that's nice to see the ladies in here working for a change. I'm joking. They're very hard workers. I know it's going to get the death stare. I'm hiding. And so they're doing a great job. We've got our lovely carnival keepers in here today. And we did mention there's somebody in charge, so we spotted out Maisie. Now, other than that, it's pretty difficult to tell. Oh, sorry, not Maisie, Large Marge. It's pretty hard to tell who's who in here. And so I don't know if you've noticed, but they all look exactly the same. There's hardly any dimorphism between one and the other. But apparently there is a telltale sign, and it's all to do with that tail. So those tails there, each one will have a darker patch at the end of their tail, almost like they've been dipped in ink. And that is unique, apparently, to the meerkat, just like a fingerprint is unique to a human being. And so that is how we will identify them. But I have looked, I have observed, I have studied, and they still all look exactly the same to me. So it is all about size in this instance. Now, we do have Lugs. Now, Lugs is a special individual because she has a bit of a birth defect. One of her ears is slightly sunken into her head more than the other one. And so it's not, you can't actually see the ear from behind her head. And she actually got her name, was it from you, Tracy? It was from Tracy, who is from Essex, am I right? Well, and Lugs is an Essex term for ears.
Luggles.
So there you go. That's how inventive we are with names. But yeah, so Tracy will know all about what a meerkat might be like in your home, or, you know, not as a pet in this instance, but as maybe a hand-reared animal. And how did it go, Tracy? Good or bad? Good or bad?
Still just about got all my fingers.
Just recovering. So this is something that we do discuss during the meerkat talk, because they do look very cute and cuddly, and I think we were all having a conversation earlier, we all agreed that they do look very cute, but somebody asked me, what is it like to cuddle one? And I'll be honest, I've never cuddled one. You notice Tracy's only got 4 fingers. Well, actually, it's 3 fingers, because we've already got 4 fingers on one hand. But yeah, they are very aggressive, and so when I ask you guys, what are your kind of describing words for a meerkat, what would you say? And I'm going to ask you in the audience if you do have any describing words. Let's get your perception of a meerkat. Any describing words? Cute. The main one. I love that one. Absolutely. And we do get that one every day as a describing word. Any other ones? Fluffy. Love that. Excellent. You didn't say frothy, did you? Fluffy, yeah? Fluffy. Excellent.
Sweet.
Sweet. Okay. Nice. Nice. I like these. Any others? We'll have one more. Go on, Keeper.
Descriptive words.
Yeah.
Don't swear.
Within reason. Smelly. I love that one. Aggressive, bitey. Okay, here we go. We're getting a little bit more
It can't be
realistic now. Okay, so there we have it. So we do have nice words usually from the audience as a perception of a meerkat. Cute, cuddly, fluffy, those kind of things. You're not wrong. They do look like that, but they looks can be deceiving, okay? So they appear to be cute and cuddly, but the reality is quite different. And so you've heard a couple from our keepers there, and the words that we use here at Newquay Zoo, the 3 main words that we use for a meerkat, go a little like this. And you can repeat them after me if you wish. So here we go for the first word. It is social.
Social.
Thank you for playing along. That's great. I didn't have a tumbleweed moment. Okay, second word is aggressive.
Aggressive.
I like the aggressive way you said that, sir. Excellent. Okay, and the third and final word is destructive.
Beautiful. Well, they're destructive.
Perfect. Oh, that was like a choir with harmonies in there and everything. I love that. Thank you so much. You can come again. Okay, so social, aggressive, destructive. And just to help you guys remember these 3 words, when you leave the zoo today, take these words with you. The first letter of each one of those words spells out sad. Social, aggressive, destructive. S-A-D. That is exactly how a meerkat would feel in your home as a pet. And the reason I'm talking about pets is because the new threat to a meerkat, very sadly, is the pet trade. Now, they've got all of these magic, amazing adaptations that help them to survive out there in the wild, but this new threat could completely destroy a meerkat. And if we don't know anything about the husbandry and welfare of an animal, then of course they're not going to do very well in the pet trade. So because of those lovely adverts that we've all seen on telly, the ones where meerkats are about this tall, speaking in English, and wearing human clothes, talking about car insurance, things like that, you know. None of that is true, of course, but it has highlighted a meerkat in quite a negative way. It's now made people want a meerkat as a pet because they think they are cute and cuddly and they can speak and give you advice on car insurance. They know diddly squat, by the way. But they now think that it might be okay to bring them in as a pet item here in the UK. So they are now a UK pet species, and I think this is horrific. So I'm going to explain why this would be a terrible idea using those 3 words that I shared with you earlier. So, social. Does anybody remember the typical group size of a family of meerkats living out there in Africa? Audience only. You know everything.
20 odd.
Thank you, 20 odd, perfect, thank you for listening. About 20 to 30 or 30 to 40, depending on which area you're in. So very high population numbers, as you can see, safety in numbers. How do we reckon one meerkat is going to feel on its own, without its safety in numbers, without its family members, all on its own in your house? Happy or sad?
Sad.
Sad, you've got it. As entertaining, as interesting as you may be, guys, a meerkat just isn't going to fit very well in your home because they are designed for the outside, for the wild, with their friends and their family members. So yeah, very, very social. Second word we used was aggressive. Okay, let's be honest. Did anybody see any arguing over food during the feed there, or was you just too interested in feeding? So I will be honest, every day there's a bit of nattering, a bit of barking, a bit of biting going on. They'll also shield their area with their bums, so they won't let the other meerkats get their bit of food. And so they can be really aggressive, but did you spot their teeth while they're eating? They actually protrude on the side, you saw them. There is one in particular who constantly has her teeth on show, and they are like vampire teeth. They're little fangs that just protrude up the side. Very good reason why we don't cuddle our meerkats here at the zoo, and a very good reason why our keepers never touch these meerkats. Even if we have to take them to the vets, they will go in a carry case, they'll be led into that carry case. We won't ever try and grab them or touch them because they will attack us, and that'll be a very quick trip up to Trelisk. And of course they carry zoonotic diseases, things like that. It's not something that you would want in your home as a pet around your children. Now, what do we call a group of meerkats? I've used the word several times. It begins with M, ends in B. What's a group of meerkats known as?
Mob.
A mob, exactly. Yeah. Do we know what mob means? The other 2 words we use for a group of meerkats is gang or clan. So it's pretty self-explanatory there. You know, they have this mob mentality. Anything that lands in this enclosure that could be a potential threat to them, they will all mob it, and the last we'll see of it is being dragged down a hole. So not something you want your children to be seeing in the back garden. And the third and final word I used was destructive. Okay, that's again self-explanatory. Our keepers, they don't always come in here and make this mess. It was the meerkats initially. They dig holes all day long. It's what they're designed to do. They've actually got special adaptations to help them dig, including very long curvature claws and little nictitating membranes in their eyelids to act as a pair of goggles to help shield from all that sand. But of course, I don't know if you guys have got, you know, a great setup in your back garden, but given 5 minutes, they will dig their way out, no doubt. Here at Newquay Zoo, we're very lucky to have an old swimming pool. So back in 1969, this used to be the penguin pool. So this is completely concreted right the way through and means there's no chance of escaping or digging their way out for our lovely meerkats. But of course, not very many people have a spare swimming pool or a penguin pool in their back garden. And so just don't have the setup, don't have the means. And before they know it, the meerkats are found huddled under cars, scared and frightened, and it's not been going so well. So let's keep them in the wild where they're doing so well, or in protected areas like zoos, so we can learn a lot from them and observe from them. They are actually a least concerned species, so there's about 500,000 of them in the wild, I'm happy to say, and they are doing really, really well as a species. So that is a little bit of hope there for our lovely meerkats. But yeah, hopefully you guys don't want any as pets, and we can keep them being healthy. So that's just a little bit about our lovely meerkats here at Newquay Zoo. If you've got any questions whatsoever, please do ask me. I didn't talk about adaptations today, so lots more to talk about. Our next talk will be at 2:30, and we're going to be heading over to our African lions. Now, it's a Saturday. Does it mean they're getting fed, keepers?
It does, but they've been a little bit naughty lately.
Oh, have they? They've been a bit fussy. So when it comes to lions, funnily enough, it isn't about whether we want them to eat, it is about whether they want to eat. We can't force them to do anything. But at 2:30, they should be getting their lunch, so it is a planned feed day, and hopefully you guys will join me over there for a little bit of information as well. So I hope to see you there at 2:30. But other than that, guys, any questions you've got, please stick around and I'll answer any at the end. And I hope you enjoy your visit here at the zoo today. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Tails, they kind of have blue tails, but this is just a species name. So very stunning animal, not poisonous, you know, they're not venomous, these guys, but still pretty scary, because I don't know if you saw the David Attenborough Race the Snake documentary. They all came out, the little iguana, was it a lizard or an iguana, and they all came out of the rocks in the desert. They all hide. It's really, really quite a traumatic thing to watch, but they can be really...
Oh, loads of them came out.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. They can be really, really intelligent. They work together to get their prey, and like most snakes, like many snakes, they are actually constrictors as well. She lives in here, and she's very chilled at the moment, hiding. Does that make you feel a bit funny, Ali? She went... So those lovely hairs that this tarantula has all over her body, Sassy will use those hairs to deter any predators that might be trying to eat her, or scare her, or maybe just chase her. And so what she'll do is take all those hairs, and she'll throw them in the air and create this kind of dust effect, this irritant effect. And that will deter the predator. Usually goes in their eyes and their face and things like that, or up their nostrils, and that usually makes them go away and leave Sassy alone. And so I've got something quite interesting of Sassy's. This is her exoskeleton. So you can see she's quite large now, but every time she grew, so every time she got a little bit bigger, she had to get a brand new hairy coat. And so these here in this tub are her old hairy coats, okay? So these are the ones that she doesn't need anymore. These are the ones that she grew out of, if you like. So these are her exoskeletons. It's not a spider, it's just the coat of the spider. And you can see from the inside little holes and gaps. And they are actually where Sassy's just climbed out of. She's taken her legs out of those gaps, and then she got a brand new coat. So the way that she'll do that is to take off her own abdomen. So that bit there is the abdomen. If I pop this down a moment, I can show you a bit better. That will come off from the front of her, like that. She pops open, climbs out of her own body, quite weird.
Oh, wow.
And then you can see just on the abdomen there, and I don't know if you can get this on camera, are the eyes of the tarantula. So you can see all of
Kind of a bit closer.
Sassy's eyes there. So she's got about 6 there. Let's look. 6 or 8 there. 8 there. And then on the other side, if you turn this over, you can also see these lovely shiny bits, which are Sassy's teeth. They're her fangs.
That's
so every
awesome.
time every time she sheds this exoskeleton, she also leaves off her fangs as well and gets a brand new set of fangs every time. So each one of these has a set of fangs on them. That's a very small one. In fact, these are the size orders.
That's cool.
So there you go. You can touch them if you like. You can have a little stroke.
Are they real?
So in here is really interesting. We've got a living ecosystem. So these guys kind of live with one another and they work with one another too. We've got some duckies in there. These are quite interesting fish because they actually give birth to live young. So they will give birth to lots of other little fish, which is unusual for fish. And then the more you look, the more you see. So there are quite a lot. Oh, hello, frog. So Mr. Frog, milk frog, right here on the leaf. And the more you look, like I said, the more you look, the more things will pop out at you. So we also have tortoises in here around the back. We have some deer mounts up there. We have lots of different birds. And we also have the sloth as well. So we go and have a look to see if we can find the sloth. Over here we usually have some, I don't know if they're still here.
Oh, flying up there.
Welcome to our lion talk. It is also a feed. What I want you to do is cast your eyes down to the corrugated fence that's just slowly risen. And now, with any luck, some lions will be released. You listen to the good stuff. So off he goes. That is our male lion. He's gone straight to his chunk of meat in the far corner. And he is followed by 2 females. Oh, here they come. They're a little bit more keen for their lunch. And they've gone to their allocated feeding spots too. So they're going to settle down now and start tucking away. And this is my chance to tell you lots of information about our lovely lions. So hello everybody, my name's Rianne. I'm one of the rangers here. I'm going to be telling you all about these guys. And I'm going to start by talking about some of their problems out there in Africa, because it is very relevant for what's happening to these animals here, so our lions that we have housed.
Look at that.
Oh, Samira's moving hers. So I will tell you their names very quickly. Down in the far corner, it's like a boxing match, is Boss. He is the male lion and he is also the boss of this enclosure, I'll be honest. And then up at the top, he's just about to do a great jump. Let's watch her go. She makes this look effortless. Oh, she's
I'm in an R in about that. She's not sure. She might just settle there. Yeah, that makes sense. So that is Samira, who's got her lovely chunk of meat up there on that podium. And then just at the front of the enclosure, so just by me here, is our lovely Amali. So both Samira... Mainly because they are seen as an apex predator, which they are, of course. And of course they are a huge threat to their family, their livelihood, as well as their own safety. And so lots of problems for lions at the moment because they are seen as a pest. So a lot of the shootings or a lot of their demise will come from the locals retaliating to the fact that they are actually eating their livestock or predating on the livestock. And so it is all about working together, working in harmony to make sure that we can coexist nice and calmly without worrying about your life. And so other than that, there is the illegal wildlife trade. A lot of the times these guys are hunted for bones or fur and things like that. The ornamental trade, the medicinal trade, and in addition to that, they've also got the illegal wildlife trade, human encroachment and habitat loss.
You hear that
so
sound?
lots of problems for these guys at the moment, but there is hope. And I want to talk about the hope, because back in the 1960s there was about 100,000 African lions. As we stand here today, there is about 22 to 23,000 lions. Now that is a huge decline. It's about 750 losses in the last, 750,000, sorry, losses in the last 60 years. And so at this rate, we're not looking at another 60 years without lions. We've only got about 20, if that. And so, of course, this is a concern for scientists and conservationists alike. And so, like I said, there is hope, and it comes in the form of all of you guys. So everybody that came here today, who's standing here around this enclosure, I just want to say a huge thank you and well done, because it's thanks to you, you've been instrumental to their conservation. It's thanks to you coming to places like zoos, protected area, wildlife sanctuaries, that you are actually contributing to their conservation of all of the projects that we have running in situ and ex situ. So they're the ones that we have out there in Africa at the moment, and the ones that we're running here at Newquay Zoo, and I just want to say again a huge thank you and well done. In addition to that, the IUCN, that's the International Union for Conservation of Nature, they are working very closely with the local people and the lions to ensure that they can harmonise the way that they coexist. So providing them with better materials to protect their livestock, so boma-proof or predator-proof bomas. In addition to that, little radios, equipping them with radios so that they can track the movements of the lions and let other farmers know and other locals know where they might be in the area. So lots of good stuff. Oh, she did go for it. Off she goes. She jumped up there. She lost half of her fluff with it. And that is all of the natural food that we've left, well, all the natural bits that we've left on that food. And I will give you a chance to find out what they're eating. In fact, I'm going to give you that chance now. So if you do want to know what our lions are dining on today for their lunch, I'm going to need to see as many of you with your hands in the air, like you just don't care as possible, because if I don't see more than half the audience with hands up, I'm not allowed to tell you. Oh, look at you, like you gory bunch. Like that. Okay, no, I didn't have to twist any arms there. My kind of people, I like that.
Bunch.
Okay, so if there was anybody that didn't put their hands up and you really don't want to know, this is the time to just put those fingers in your ears, hum a little tune to yourself preferably, and I'll get this done as fast as possible, because we are all animal lovers here. But remember, this is the circle of life. So we feed our lions here the best form of prey that we can offer them in the UK, the most naturalistic form of prey that we can offer them here in the UK. And as an apex predator, a bit of a clue, one of their favourite forms of prey out there in Africa would be a zebra. Now all you need to do is take those black and white stripes off the zebra, envision an animal that we have quite a lot of here in the UK, and you will have the animal. And I will just tell you, it is wild Dartmoor pony, to be precise. Oh. This is where I get sad looking faces and I avoid eye contact. But the reasons for this wild Dartmoor pony food source is because it is part of a government cull. So not only is it the closest relative to their native form of prey, which would be a zebra, so very biologically close, same setup, kind of makeup, good for our lions, but they also are part of that cull. So they would just be going to waste if it wasn't for the lions consuming it. And what they'll do is actually cull the less hardy, the weaker, the more vulnerable individuals up there on the moorlands. They will then send half of that meat off to carnivore species across the globe, mainly locally. And then the other half of that meat will actually get sent off to France for humans, so human consumption as well. So it is not going to waste at all. It is fully getting used. And this is all to do with our native ecology as well. So the ponies up there, they are now overpopulating, they're causing havoc to our native ecology and also having an impact on our native species as well. So it is just to ensure that numbers are controlled up there, our lions will get fed, and that we're ensuring that there's only a healthy, hardy, native bred group of ponies up there in the moorlands. Oh, I Marley looked at you a little bit too much then, Callie, I didn't like that. She didn't eat her or finish her dinner fully there, did she? She might have left a little bit. So later on, you will notice that our male lion, Boss, he being the dominant male, I put that in inverted commas because there's a bit of argument about who might be the leaders of the pride, whether it's males or females. But for now, it's a male-dominated society, so he gets first dibs to that food. So if he finishes early, he'll come on over, prowl on over, and he'll steal some of the girls' meat. Not fair, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Now, who's doing all the hard work when it comes to hunting or feeding? Can we have a little vote? Hands up if you think it's the boys doing all the hunting. All right, like this. Hands up then if you think it's the girls doing all the hunting. Absolutely, again, just like the meerkats. They are doing a lot here. And so the females will do about 90% of all of the hunts, and they do work together in order to make sure it's a successful hunt. And the boys will do about 100% of all the benefits. So they get all the rights to that food. If they decide that they're going to let the ladies eat, they might get a chance, but if they decide they're not, then they will eat the whole carcass. And that is just, like I said, the way the cookie crumbles for these lions. Very unfair, but it sounds familiar. Moving swiftly on. And so these here, we have a family group here. So if you also just mention the feed, we don't feed them every day, so it's quite lucky that we're getting to see a feed. They have 5 days that they feed and 2 essential non-feed days of the week. So we managed to miss those days, luckily. And that is just to replicate the natural occurrences of what's happening in Africa. Because African lions, they don't get to eat every day. They'd be very lucky to get a successful hunt once a week, in fact. And an African lion can go a full 28 days without any food whatsoever. So because of this life factor, we have to take that into consideration and not overfeed them. Otherwise, we would end up with very round lions in here. Talking of round things, you're probably wondering what that huge ball-looking thing is there. Well, I'll come to that because I was just about to tell you the family. And so they are a brother and 2 sisters here in this enclosure, Boss, Samir and Amali. They were all part of the same litter, and they were all born at Longleat Safari Park 10 years ago now, so they're 10 years old. And they were all born to a male lion named Hugo. Hence why Boss has his name. So we're very inventive with names around here. And so what they've had sprayed in here today is a bit of Hugo Boss. The perfume, the spray. And that is because they love a bit of sensory enrichment, and so we've decided that is the one they're going for. They've actually decided that was their favourite on the weekends, so today it is a bit of Beyonce's Heat as well, so tomorrow we'll have a bit of that in there. But it is just about sensory enrichment, so these guys get quite excited when they smell something new or a novel object, and that is why we gift them with different sensory boxes on their birthdays and things like that, or maybe on a non-feed day we'll put in a bit of enrichment in there. Of course, we are acting as a safety net for these lovely lions until their wild environment is safe enough to be rehoused. So our ultimate aim is to get them back rewilded into their native environment, and that would be our dream. Of course, at the moment it's not so safe out there, so we are waiting for things to get that out there, really. But while we are acting as a safety net, we want to make sure that they are entertained physically and mentally, that they are having the best life that they could have, because let's face it, this isn't their natural habitat. And so we offer them lots of different forms of enrichment, sensory being one of them. We'll also use some of the herbs and different spices that we have around here at the zoo as a nice bit of sensory enrichment, and also bedding, hay, straw from the savannah area, things like that. So that contains all of the prey-like smells of an African lion. We've got the Inyala, the zebra and the wildebeest that all go into that enclosure, not physically, just the smells. And that really excites these guys. When it's not a sensory enrichment, they will play with massive footballs. So these are the original 3 lions, but the better 3 lions of England. And they are doing great with their exercise regime. So what they'll do is take one of these balls. They've got about 3 of them in there. They're called boomer balls officially. You will find these in the pet shop for your dogs, domestic animals, things like that. But probably not that big. And so what they'll do is run around this enclosure with that massive boomer ball, hitting it against the side of the enclosure wall, and they will just pick up speed as they go along. And it is quite wonderful to watch 3 lions have a match of football, I will be honest. But it was a bit of a trial and error process with those balls there, because we did go to a pet shop and asked what would be suitable, and the pet shop owner told us that a typical size boomer ball, which is this, would be suitable for 3 African lions, because apparently it's made out of indestructible material, because about 3 hours after putting one of these in there, this thing is what we had to retrieve from their enclosures. So as you can see, we really underestimated our lovely lions. The sheer strength, power and size of them. It is actually a bit of a crash helmet or a plaster strainer if anybody needs one. We've got little manufacturers of them in there. And so I bring this along just to show you the sheer size, power and strength of an African lion, really, because like I said, we did underestimate them, and we've upped our game quite a lot since these days. But there are a couple of scratch marks, holes, teeth marks, things like that. Just really impressive. And you can see a perfect size of a canine tooth, or the size of our male lion's canine there. And it's about 10 centimetres long, about your index finger, one canine tooth.
Oh,
so
no.
that's quite interesting to look at. And as you can see as well, they've squashed this ball just with their sheer strength. And that was one of the girls, actually. She just squashed it with her paw. You can actually see where her nails went in there as well. So really impressive. Also another great example as to why we don't go in there with them at feeding time, or any other time for that matter. And so that's another form of enrichment we'll offer them. And we do also enrich them with different foods as well. So they won't just get horse meat every day, day in, day out. They will also get a deer leg that might be attached to a blood
he's
bag,
looking,
which
isn't
is
he?
a frozen bucket of frozen bucket of blood. Sorry, it sounds gross, but it is lovely to them. On a very hot day, we'll offer them, he's howling. Oh, she hasn't noticed he's creeping behind her. Okay, so up there, Samira is actually the more dominant of the two females. So I'm quite surprised he's trying his luck with her, because she's likely to swipe him. Oh, she sensed him. She's looking around, she can probably smell him, but she can't see him. And he's not too bothered at the minute, so it doesn't look like he's...
Oh, he's looking.
So this could be a little bit of an argument here. It's always fun, adventurous, but of course they are brothers and sisters. So what do you expect? So we do get a sibling argument. Oh.
No, we don't.
See, she grabbed it, she left. Oh, she dropped it. Unlucky. Unlucky. It's a bit slippery up there today because of the rain, so that's a bit of a dangerous move. See if she can save it. She hasn't got it.
He's got it.
Clicked on that she dropped it. Okay. Nobody mentioned intelligence with males. You'll find it in a minute. And so that is just a classic example of Boss asserting his dominance. Another way that he will assert his dominance as well will be to mark his territory, to bark, no more. Later on he'll start his roaring, and that can be heard up to about 5 miles away. Where did it drop to? Or he's not as good as that as his sister is.
Over this way.
It came on the other side. Click on. He'll click on. But a great example there of how dominant Boss really is. And she was very brave there to grab her meat and try and do a runner.
Look at that, look.
Tried to take his meat.
Oh, look at that.
Bit of a mistake to make that one. So there you go, a bit of action there for you guys, which is always exciting. I think Amali knows her place. She is making a quick dart for it. Oh, what's that, Amali? Okay, so as I was saying, another few ways. A little poke.
Little snake.
Little snake. You've got to be careful.
That's mine.
Look, he's giving up meat. He had to sacrifice that.
What are you supposed to be a man?
Did anybody see why that's happened? Did anybody see why he's not let her have that meat?
No.
Oh, so he had a special cuddle with her. And now it's been set, yeah.
You want a cigarette now?
That's her cigarette. His cigarette's between his legs. Yeah, that's disgusting. Typical man.
That's funny.
I've got us a laugh.
Marcus territory or assert his dominance. They love each other really, see? It's all love now. Is to spray, and I'm giving you a little warning of this because I have seen quite a few members of the public be completely drenched by his spray. And so we've got 2 main spray zones, one over by this palm tree here and one on the left hand side by that palm tree. And don't say I haven't warned you. He does give you his own little warning. He usually wraps himself up against the enclosure side, gives a little turnaround, very slow turnaround, with his tail high in the air, showing you his glorious end, and that is your cue to get out of there very fast. So that is just a little bit about our lovely lions. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of the feed and maybe a few sibling arguments.
Oh, he's coming closer.
But any questions you've got, please feel free to ask me. I'll be hanging around at the end of the talk to answer you've got. Other than that, guys, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful visit here at Newquay Zoo today. Thank you for coming along to meet our animals. We do hope to see you back here in the future. Take care.
Whee!
He's off again. Thank you guys.